am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States. However, there have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve. Our basic difficulty in dealing with these is that there is no measurement of them that makes it possible for us to put them in any pattern that would be profitable for a deliberate, custom sort of analysis to take the next step. We have, as of date, come to only one firm conclusion with respect to this remaining percentage, and that is that it does not contain any pattern of purpose or of consistency that we can relate with to any conceivable threat to the United States.
With all due respect to the Air Force, I believe that some of them will prove to be of interplanetary origin. During a 3-year investigation, I found that many pilots have described objects of substance and high speed. One case, pilots reported their plane was buffeted by an object which passed them at 500 miles an hour. Obviously, this was a solid object, and I believe it was from outer space.
There was a general persuasion that through all the deep of space, no life existed beyond the petty surface of our own minute sphere. We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's. Across an immense ethereal gulf, minds that are to our minds as our minds are to the beasts in the jungle, intellects, vast, cool, and unsympathetic, regarded this earth with envious eyes, and surely drew their plans against us.
I can conceive of no nightmare as terrifying as establishing such communication with the so-called superior, or if you wish, advanced technology in outer space. I think there's no question but that we live in an inhabited universe that has life all over it.
What I'm imagining is the facts that I've just stated becoming generally known, so that people know that out there is a million other civilizations. They all look fabulously ugly, and they're all a lot smarter than us. That seems to me useful and a character-building experience for mankind.
show you the Montana film. This film was shot August the 15th, 1950. It was taken in Great Falls, Montana by Nick Mariana. Immediately after we were notified of the sighting, we sent an intelligence man to get a first-hand report.
My name is Nick Mariana. For the past 6 years, I've been the general manager of a minor league baseball club called the Electrics. We play out of Great Falls, Montana, and are a farm club of the Brooklyn Dodgers. On August 15th, 1950, at Legion Ballpark in Great Falls, Montana, after a couple of hours in the clubhouse office, I went up into the grandstand to call the groundskeeper. As I reached the top of the stairway, I glanced northward to the tall Anaconda Copper Company smokestack to check the direction of the wind from the white smoke. Force of habit, I suppose, because our outfielders use it as an indicator on defensive play. As I looked up, I saw two silvery objects moving swiftly out of the northwest. They appeared to be moving directly south. The objects were very bright and about 10,000 feet in the air. They appeared to be of a bright, shiny metal, like polished silver. Both were the same size and were traveling at the same rate of speed, which was much slower than the jets which shot by shortly after I filmed the discs. Suddenly, they stopped. It was then I remembered the camera in the glove compartment of my car. I raced downstairs, yelling for my secretary, Miss Virginia Ronnie. The distance from the top of the stairway to my car is about 60 feet, and I must have made that in about 6 jumps. I asked my secretary if she saw anything, and she said yes, 2 silvery spheres. I unlocked the glove compartment of my car, took out the camera, turned the telephoto lens on the turret into position, set the camera at f/22, picked up the objects in the viewfinder, and pressed the trigger. The discs appeared to be spinning like the top and were about 50 feet across and about 50 yards apart. I could not see any exhaust, wings, or any kind of fuselage. There was no cabin, no odor, no sound, except I thought I heard a whooshing sound when I first saw them. As the film clicked through the camera, I could see the objects moving southeast behind the General Mills grain building and the black water tank directly south of the ballpark. I filmed the objects until they disappeared into the blue sky behind the water tank.
This is the Montana film, projected exactly as it was photographed. The objects are moving against a 25 to 28 mile an hour wind. This is the film in double frame or slow motion. A slight bounce in the movement of the objects as well as the tower is perceptible. This is due to the handheld camera. The film, analyzed frame by frame, shows the movement of the objects to be horizontal and steady.
We will now vary the action and size of the objects and also stop the action from time to time for your study. We have just made a jump cut in the film to an enlarged size and reversed the action. You are now seeing the objects exactly as they were photographed, but from a closer perspective. Analysis reveals that the objects are not balloons, nor any kind of known aircraft. The images are very different from those produced by any kind of birds at any distance. The shape, brightness, speed, rectilinear path, steady motion, and separation rule out various forms of optical atmospheric mirages or cloud reflections. Comprehensive analysis has eliminated meteors and other known natural phenomena. The possibility of airplane reflection has been carefully studied and ruled out.
The United States Air Force, in discharging its responsibility for the aerospace defense of the nation, is called upon to investigate reports of unidentified flying objects. Two Air Force officers have over the years been very closely associated with this activity. Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Stacker was formerly the chief spokesman for the Air Force on the matter, and Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Blue Book. The Air Force has been accused from time to time of hiding information about UFO. What do you have to say to that, Colonel Hector?
These charges are absolutely untrue. Actually, the United States Air Force releases statistics on the UFO phenomena through the Department of Defense press desk periodically, and we've always honored accredited media when they want to investigate a given specific sighting.
There's nothing to hide.
There's nothing to hide at all.
Do they look on them as qualified observers?
Yes, they do look on them as qualified observers. Actually, most people who report a UFO sighting are patriotic citizens who have been mystified by something that they've seen, and through a patriotic sense, report it to the local law enforcement officials or to the United States Air Force base near them.
What would you consider as a person qualified to interpret what he sees?
Well, I consider astronomers are genuinely experts in their field. First of all, they have a tremendous advantage over the other physical scientists, and that is that they have powerful telescopes and photographic equipment to confirm their interpretation.
How does this fit the program?
Well, actually, to begin with, the United States Air Force is charged by an act of Congress with the air defense of the United States, and the North American Air Defense Command and the Air Defense Command have space tracking facilities which are constantly on the alert 24 hours a day. We're interested in anything that flies in our atmosphere.
Well, how about UFO reports in other countries? How are they handled?
Well, UFOs actually occur worldwide. However, the United States is the only country in the world that places as much emphasis on the phenomenon. Other countries place a burden of proof on the observer and not on their Air Force.
And that would make your job a lot easier if they did that here.
Yes, it would.
Thank you, Colonel Tacker, Major Quintanilla. I would like to close by reading a very brief excerpt from the report of the Air Force's Scientific Advisory Board, which they made recently upon completing a detailed review of the subject of UFO. This is a statement. The committee concluded that in the 19 years since the first UFO was sighted, there has been no evidence that unidentified flying objects are a threat to our national security.
Patrol car Delta 9 with PC Roger Willie and PC Clifford Waycott, based at Oakhampton, were out on night duty patrolling the A3072 Hatherley to Holsworthy Road. Precisely 1 minute past 4 o'clock this morning, they sighted an object 400 yards away from them and at treetop level. They reported immediately to Oakhampton Police Station, where further men were brought out.
There was no question whatsoever that this was a figment of the imagination. It was definitely there. It was definitely either manned by some sort of being or remotely controlled. It was definitely being controlled to view our car or...
You had the feeling it was watching you?
Definitely, yeah.
Pearl with a tail, you know, just a blimp, a pure blimp shape. And I watched this thing and suddenly it disappeared. And I thought, well, am I seeing things?
Sir Richard, what do you think of this flying saucer business? Well, it's impossible to say what people actually see unless you're there at the time, and you do get all sorts of reports. If one didn't see it oneself, one can't say what it is they actually saw.
You've never seen anything yourself?
No, never.
You don't think it's possible that they could come from another planet within our solar system?
It is possible, but things seem to point otherwise.
This means they've come a very long way.
Indeed.
You think this is still quite possible? This is several light years, isn't it, from the nearest?
Well, we must get round to the way of thinking in terms of non-man-made machines, something more sophisticated than we have ever produced.
Strange. Most people like yourself who have come to believe in flying saucers seem to be, in a sense, uncritical, in that they say, right, we accept all the sighting reports we've seen, we accept the films we've been shown, but they haven't, on the whole, got their own first-hand experiences. Have you?
Have I actually seen one? Yes, I have seen one. I saw one in 1963 in London from my flat.
One that satisfied you beyond all reasonable doubt?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, it was nothing that could be rationally explained as being from this earth.
I think that there is more than one type visiting us. I think there are at least 5. I'm talking of types of beings, not types of craft. There are about 30 types of craft. I think a minimum of 5 types of beings are coming, and possibly 8. And I think that some of them may be friendly and some may not be.
It is part of modern astronomy, isn't it? It's accepted by modern astronomers that it's possible that there are many planets in our galaxy that could sustain our kind of life, or life similar to ours.
Oh yes, in our galaxy, but not in the solar system. This makes an enormous difference about the travel time. If the thing is many thousand light years away from here, or many million light years away from here, even if you move with the speed of light, you've got to be many million years old to get here.
Firstly, let me thank you all for coming along this evening, and I hope what will prove a constructive meeting. It is perhaps appropriate if I first give some background information to clarify the aims of this meeting. Many of our townspeople have been frightened by unusual sounds.
People here tonight are afraid of the thing. How many of you?